Hey guys, it's Brian here again with another fan video, and I have something rather unique for you here. This is an industrial grade floor fan, and it has a 1/5 horsepower Delco branded motor on the back with a very large capacitor on top. Let me zoom in on the tag for you here. 1/5 horsepower, moves 1750 RPM, 3.6 amp draw. Made by Delco, which is a division of General Motors in Dayton, Ohio. And this fan has some unique features to it. The first being the rather large capacitor on top. The second being the oiling system. It has these little metal flaps that go over an oil port that goes directly to the rear bearing. And then there's another one right up here that attaches to a tube that goes directly to the front bearing. So it's got a very easy oil system, very easy to maintain and keep it running. These things were definitely built to last. They were also built to move a shitload of air because this fan is extremely powerful. It has a centrifugally switched motor which operates two sets of windings in the motor. The first one being the startup winding, which is the winding that is utilized when the fan first turns on. And then when the blade spins to a certain speed, the centrifugal switch switches the power to a second set of windings, which is the run windings. Now, the idea behind a centrifugal motor is to draw the maximum amount of amperage to spin the fan or device that the motor is operating to full speed as quickly as possible. And then once the rotor gets to a certain speed, like I said, it switches to the run windings, which draw less amperage. So that is why 9 times out of 10 when you see these industrial fans with these centrifugal motors, when you turn them on, they are almost instantaneously up to full speed. This one actually is a little bit slower than your typical centrifugal motor, in my opinion, but we'll go ahead and demonstrate it. When I turn it on, you'll notice that there is a distinction between the startup winding and the run winding, and you'll notice the amount of torque that is applied once it switches to the run winding. This whole fan will move. Watch. I'll show you what I mean. You notice that the fan just moved when it switched to the second winding. It's actually not as loud as I thought it would be, quite honestly. Usually when you see these commercial fans, they're often very loud, very noisy, and very powerful. Well, we got the powerful part down right. It was even moving the foam while I was holding it in front of the fan. A lot of power coming out of this thing. And I can say this without a doubt, this is the most powerful portable fan that I currently own. Go ahead and shut her down, and you'll hear the centrifugal switch once again as it winds down. There it goes right there. This fan has an 18-inch Torrington blade on it, which I do not believe to be original, although I could be mistaken, but due to the fact that it has a 22-inch guard, I don't think that that blade is original. I think this fan probably originally came with a 20-inch blade and most likely a 3 blade, not a 4. What that original blade looked like, I have no idea. The previous owner of this fan told me that he used it in his garage to cool the place down. This is not something that I would use inside my house. It's just entirely too powerful. And I will say this, fans like this are the reason why they always told us as kids to never stick your finger or your hand inside there. Because I guarantee you, if you stuck anything inside there, you would lose it. And with the amount of the size of the gaps in the grill, I don't think I would want to stick my hand in that. But I'm sure that this is not something I'd want to keep around my kids or pets, because they would probably get injured by something like this. This is very dangerous. But it's a really cool fan. I like it quite a bit. Industrial fans like this used to scare me as a kid, because typically when you have these centrifugally switched motors, they start up almost instantaneously on most commercial grade industrial fans. I do have a memory of a 24-inch Dayton fan having a 1/4 horsepower motor that spun, I believe it was 1725 or 1750 RPM. And those are usually single speed, plug and go like this. Well, I remember when I was probably about 7 or 8, might have even been younger, I plugged one in and I was standing literally right next to it, and this thing was instantaneously on. And the amount of noise that this fan made to both start up and run was terrifying. To me as a kid, being that young, I didn't like loud noises, as I'm sure most kids don't. So they always terrified me as a kid, because I remembered that noise. That stuck with me for a long, long time. But nowadays, being a fan collector and being an adult, these things just fascinate me. I mean, the sheer amount of power and the build quality of these fans are just astonishing. And this one's built like a tank. Now, one thing that I'm not sure of on this particular fan is whether it was actually marketed by Delco. Delco, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but it's actually a division of General Motors. They make parts for GM cars, and apparently at one point in history they used to make fans on the side and motors. I've seen a couple of refrigerators with Delco motors and some other electric pumps and things like that. But this is the first Delco branded industrial fan that I've ever seen. And it makes me wonder if this was actually marketed by them, or if it was sold third party through someone like Dayton or Phil Rich or Whirlwind or one of those commercial fan companies. I'm not entirely sure. But for this video, we're going to call it a Delco industrial floor fan. And you would often see these kinds of fans in warehouses and department stores and large room buildings, moving a ton of air through those rooms. That's what they were built for. So I'm not sure where this originally came from, but it's definitely one of those applications. So anyway, that is the Delco industrial floor fan. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Keep watching, more videos to come.